Before we begin, open your heart, still your soul, and prepare to receive a word that could alter the very course of your life, because what you're about to hear is not just a message, it's a divine appointment. There is a path, a mystery, a sacred script written before time began, a purpose carved into the fabric of your being. You were not born by accident, you were born by appointment. There is an appointed destiny for your life, and so the question is not whether it exists, the question is whether you will find it. And the answer lies not in the noise of this world, but in the whisper of the eternal. You were not born to wander through life guessing your purpose. You were not placed on this earth to write your own story apart from the author. There is a mystery written over your life, a scroll sealed in the heavens, and it holds the plan of your appointed destiny. But here's the secret. Destiny is not something you invent. It is not the product of your dreams, your will, or your ambition. It is not crafted by your desires or defined by your circumstances. Destiny is not what you choose to become. It is what you were created to fulfill. And the only way to find it is to surrender. The world tells you to chase your dreams, follow your heart, and forge your own path. But what if your heart is leading you astray? What if your dream is a shadow of something far greater? What if the path you're on is not the path that was written for you? The truth is, your appointed destiny was not formed in your mind. It was formed in the mind of God before time began, and so it cannot be uncovered by the flesh. It must be revealed by the Spirit. You don't find your calling by striving for greatness. You find it by bowing low. You don't unlock your purpose by exalting yourself, but by yielding yourself. The greatest breakthroughs don't come by reaching up. They come by laying down. And when you lay down your own plans, your own dreams, your own timeline, that's when you make room for the divine blueprint. That's when the mystery begins to unfold. Think of Moses, raised in Pharaoh's palace, destined, so it seemed, to lead by power, but that wasn't the way. His real calling didn't begin until he surrendered. He fled to the wilderness, and it was there, in the stillness, in the silence, that the voice came. Take off your sandals, for the place where you stand is holy ground. And so it is with you. To find the ground of destiny, you must remove the sandals of control. Step barefoot into the will of God. When you let go of what you think your life should be, you open yourself to what your life was always meant to be. And that is the mystery. That is the paradox. In dying to yourself, you come alive. In losing your way, you find the way. The destiny appointed to you will never be found by following the world, but by following the voice that called you before you were formed in the womb. So I tell you now, stop striving, stop writing your own script, lay it down at his feet. Destiny is not a ladder you climb, it is a road you walk. And the road is narrow, it is the way of surrender, the path of trust, the journey of faith, but it leads to life. It leads to the place where your purpose meets his plan. And when you get there, you will know. You were never meant to invent it. You were meant to fulfill it. We long for answers. We crave clarity. We want the full map before we take the first step. But that's not how destiny works. The appointed path is not revealed in the land of comfort. It is found in the land of uncertainty. If you wait until everything makes sense, you will never move. If you demand to understand every detail, you'll miss the mystery. The journey of destiny begins where logic ends and faith begins. It is not the familiar that births your calling. It is the unknown. Look at Abraham. He was told, leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. Not a blueprint, not a 5-year plan, just go. That's how God works. He doesn't hand you the map, he becomes the map. You don't walk by seeing, you walk by trusting. The mystery is this: your destiny is hidden in the unfamiliar. And if you're not willing to step into the unknown, you will never uncover what was appointed for you from the beginning. We often say we're waiting on God, but many times he's waiting on us. Waiting for us to let go of our comfort zones, waiting for us to release the false security of our plans, waiting for us to take that first trembling step into the wilderness, because it is in the wilderness where the voice is heard. It is in the desert where the calling becomes clear. God didn't call Moses in Pharaoh's palace. He called him from a burning bush on the far side of the mountain. He called him in the place of exile, the place of emptiness, the place of silence. Why? Because comfort drowns out the still small voice. But the silence amplifies it. You may feel lost. You may feel like you're walking in the fog, but could it be that the fog is the cloud of his presence? That what feels like confusion is actually the invitation to trust. When you step into the unknown, you are stepping into the sacred. When you leave the familiar, you make room for the miraculous. And when you can no longer rely on yourself, you begin to rely on the one who holds the end from the beginning. If you want to find your destiny, you must walk where your flesh doesn't want to go. You must let go of control. You must be willing to follow the whisper, even when it leads through the storm, because it's not about the clarity of the path. It's about the presence of the guide. He will not give you the full picture because he is the picture. You don't need to know the way when you know the one who is the way. So if you feel like you're stepping out into nothing, keep walking. That's the place where destinies are born. If you're surrounded by uncertainty, don't retreat, press forward. Because the place where nothing is certain is the place where everything can change. And in that place, you will discover not just your future, but your calling. We live in a world that worships strength, celebrates power, and hides weakness. But in the kingdom of God, everything is reversed. The things the world exalts, God brings low. And the things the world rejects, God raises up. You see, your weakness is not a curse. It is not a disqualification. It is not the thing that keeps you from your destiny. It may be the very thing that leads you to it. Because God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And he chooses the weak things of the world to confound the strong. You say, but I don't have what it takes. Good. You were never meant to. You say, I'm broken. Good. God uses broken vessels to pour out his glory. You say, I've failed too much. Good. You're finally empty enough to be filled. If you could do it in your own strength, it wouldn't be destiny. It would be ego. If you had all the answers, there would be no need for faith. But your weakness, that is where the power of God can rest. Look at Gideon. He was hiding in fear, threshing wheat in a winepress. And yet the angel of the Lord appears to him and says, mighty warrior. Mighty? Well, he didn't feel mighty. They didn't look mighty. But God wasn't speaking to who he was. He was speaking to who was appointed to become. And God does the same with you. He speaks into your weakness and calls forth destiny. He doesn't need your strength. He needs your yes. Moses said, I can't speak. Jeremiah said, I'm too young. Paul had a thorn he begged God to take away. Yet in each of these, God didn't remove the weakness. He worked through it. He didn't erase their flaws. He used them. Because your weakness is not the obstacle. It's the stage. It's the place where God shows himself strong. When you are weak, then he is strong. When you are at the end of yourself, you are at the beginning of his power. So don't hide your weakness. Don't despise it. Don't run from it. Lay it at his feet. Present your imperfection to the one who is perfect. He's not looking for the most talented. He's looking for the most surrendered. The one who says, Lord, I can, but you can. And that is where miracles begin. That is where the ordinary becomes holy. That is where the broken becomes the vessel of glory. You were never called to walk in your own power. That's why you feel weak, so you'll reach for his strength. That's why you come to the end, so he can begin. So let the world see your weakness. Let them see your struggle, because in that very place, they will also see the light. And when they ask how you made it, you'll say, it wasn't me, it was him. And that is how destiny is fulfilled, not in the triumph of the flesh, but in the surrender of the soul. There comes a moment in every life where the path splits, where you can choose the road of logic or the road of faith, the comfortable or the calling, the familiar or the unknown. And in that moment, everything hangs in the balance, because the destiny appointed to your life will never be walked out in the safety of reason. It can only be walked out in the courage of faith. To step into your purpose, you must be willing to step beyond what makes sense, beyond the predictable, beyond the expected. And that is the walk of the righteous. It is not a walk of sight, but of trust. Noah built an ark before the first drop of rain. Abraham left everything, not knowing where he was going. Peter stepped out of the boat while the storm was still raging. These were not logical moves. They were prophetic ones. They weren't practical. They were obedient. And the same call comes to you. If you wait until the conditions are perfect, you'll never move. If you demand the outcome before you take the step, you'll never see the miracle. The water doesn't part until your feet touch it. The door doesn't open until you walk toward it. The provision doesn't come until the step is taken. This is the mystery. Faith begins where sight ends. And your destiny does not lie in what is safe. It lies in the place of risk. The place where your flesh says no, but the Spirit says go. If you live bound by what people will say, or what seems logical on paper, you will never walk on water. You will never slay the giant. You will never inherit the land. Because every great move of God requires a step that doesn't make sense. The world will call you foolish. Your own mind will resist. Your fears will rise up. But that's when you must choose. Do you walk by comfort or by calling? By your senses or by His voice? Your appointed destiny is not on the shore. It's out there on the waves. And it is only faith that will carry you to it. You say, but what if I fall? Then fall forward. What if you sink? Then call His name and He will reach down, just as He did for Peter. The failure is not in falling, it's in never stepping out. The greatest regrets will not be the things you tried and failed. They will be the things you never dared to try at all. So take the step. Move forward, even if your knees shake. Trust even when you can't see, because the God who called you is faithful. And He will not lead you into the storm to leave you there. He leads you through the unknown to bring you to the place you were always meant to be. Walk by faith, not by sight, because your destiny, your true appointed God-ordained destiny, is waiting on the other side of your next step. Every step you take is not just a motion. It is a seed. Every choice you make, every decision, every thought you allow to take root, every action you repeat, it all becomes the soil in which your future grows. You may not see it now. It may seem small, insignificant, routine. But in the unseen realm, your appointed destinies are being watered or withered, fed or forgotten, nurtured or neglected by the very decisions you make today. We think destiny happens in the great moments, on the mountaintop, in the fire, in the whirlwind. But more often, it is forged in the quiet choices, in the hidden moments, in the hours no one sees. It is not just the destination that defines your destiny. It is the road that leads there. And that road is made of steps, thousands of steps. And every step either brings you closer to what heaven wrote for you or further away. You say, but it's just one compromise. But a seed is just one thing too small but powerful. A single compromise can reroute the journey. A single act of obedience can open a door no man can shut. The destiny of kings and kingdoms has turned on a single moment. Whisper answered, a temptation resisted, a command obeyed. Every moment matters. Every decision is sacred. Joseph's destiny didn't begin when he stood before Pharaoh. It began in a pit, in slavery, in a prison cell. And what did he do in those moments? He chose integrity. He chose God. And every time he chose right in the dark, the seed of destiny grew deeper until the day it burst forth into light. So it is with you. Your appointed future is not waiting for some day out there. It is being shaped by what you do this day, this hour, this moment. Don't despise the small things. Don't dismiss the ordinary. The choices you make when no one's watching are the ones that echo in eternity. The way you respond to adversity, the way you treat those around you, the way you speak when you're hurt, the way you live when it would be easier to compromise. These are the seeds of destiny. And heaven is watching how you plant them. You want to fulfill your calling? Then choose holiness over popularity. Choose righteousness over convenience. Choose obedience over emotion. Each time you do, you align yourself with the very path that was appointed for you before time began. And though the fruit may not appear instantly, it will come. In due season, you will reap if you do not grow weary. So take heed, guard your steps, make your decisions, not by the flesh, but by the Spirit. Walk not according to what feels good, but according to what is good. Because destiny isn't found in the grand gesture. It's revealed through the daily cross, the daily walk, the daily yes to God. Choose well today, and tomorrow will reveal what heaven always intended for you. In the world's eyes, success is about pushing, striving, climbing the ladder, making it. But in the kingdom of God, it is the opposite. The more you strive, the more you miss. The more you push in your own strength, the more the door remains closed. Destiny doesn't come through striving, it comes through aligning. It is not achieved by the might of man, but by the will of God. You don't seize it by force, you receive it by surrender. The danger is in thinking it all depends on you, your effort, your performance, your ability to figure it all out. But destiny is not a race to be won. It is a calling to be fulfilled. And you fulfill it not by running harder, but by listening deeper. The question is not, how do I get there, but am I aligned with him? Are your steps ordered by the Spirit? Are your decisions rooted in his word? Because the moment your will aligns with his, everything changes. Striving produces weariness, but alignment produces peace. When you strive, you're always chasing something that runs faster than you. But when you align with the Spirit, you walk in step with the one who holds the future. Think of a ship with a sail. The wind is blowing one way, and you're forcing your own direction. You'll only tire and drift. But if you raise your sail to the wind of God, he will take you to the place you were born to be without you having to make it happen. That's why the Spirit leads. He doesn't push. He whispers. He guides. He speaks in stillness. If you're too busy running after your own vision, you may miss the voice that would have shown you the right one. But if you stop, if you wait, if you yield, you will hear him. And when you do, you will know. This is the way. Walk in it. You want to fulfill your destiny? Then it begins with letting go of your need to control. It begins with a prayer, not my will, but yours be done. That is where destiny begins, not in ambition, but in surrender. Not in chasing, but in following. When you seek first his kingdom, his righteousness, everything else, including your destiny, will be added unto you. You're not called to strive. You're called to trust. You're not called to figure it all out. You're called to walk with the one who already has. The steps of a righteous one are ordered by the Lord. That means every moment of obedience moves you forward. Every time you say yes to the Spirit, you are aligning with your purpose. So stop striving. Stop wrestling with doors that won't open. Lay down the burden of trying to make it all happen. And lift your eyes, set your heart, tune your ear to his whisper. Because when you align your life with the will of God, you won't have to chase your destiny. It will find you. You are not here by chance. You are not the result of random molecules colliding in the darkness. You are not an accident. You are a purpose wrapped in flesh, a mystery born into time, a vessel of divine intention. Before the foundations of the world were laid, God saw you, he called you, he formed you, and he appointed you for such a time as this. You were chosen, not after you were born, but before you were even conceived. Chosen for a purpose, chosen for a destiny, chosen to fulfill something that no one else on this planet can fulfill. You may look at yourself and see flaws. You may see your past, your mistakes, your shortcomings. But God looks at you and sees purpose. He sees potential. He sees the fulfillment of a plan that began in eternity. You say, but I'm too broken. He says, I make all things new. You say, I'm too weak. He says, my strength is made perfect in your weakness. You say, I have nothing to offer. He says, I created you for exactly what I've called you to do. You were not called to blend in. You were not called to live a life of imitation or limitation. You have set apart. There is a calling on your life that no one else can carry. There is a mission that has your name on it. It is specific. It is sacred. It is sealed in the scroll of heaven. And though the enemy may try to convince you that you are unworthy, unusable, forgotten, the truth is the opposite. You are known, you are chosen, you are destined. The world will try to define you. It will put labels on you. It will tell you who you're supposed to be. But none of that matters. What matters is who God says you are. And he says you are his workmanship, his masterpiece, created in Messiah for good works, which he prepared beforehand for you to walk in. That means your life isn't random, it's prophetic. Your steps aren't ordinary, they are ordered. You don't need to become someone else. You don't need to chase someone else's dream. You simply need to walk in what has already been written for you. And you walk by faith. one step at a time, listening for his voice, trusting in his timing, surrendering to his will. And as you do, you will discover that every moment, every trial, every blessing, even every pain, has been shaping you for the purpose you were born to fulfill. So rise up, child of destiny. Cast off the lies, silence the doubt, and step into the truth of who you are. You are not a mistake. You are not invisible. You are not forgotten. You are a chosen vessel, called for this moment in history. And if you will walk in faith, if you will align with the one who called you, then no force on earth or hell can stop the fulfillment of the destiny that was written over your life from the beginning of time. You were not called to wander in circles. You were called to walk a divine path. You were not formed for mediocrity. You were formed for glory. So rise up, child of destiny. Walk into the appointment. Fulfill the purpose. And don't stop until you stand where heaven meant you to stand. May the Lord go before you. May he guide your steps. And may your life become the testimony of a destiny fulfilled. May the hand of the Almighty be upon you. May your days be aligned with his eternal plan. And may you walk not just into your future, but into your calling. Be strong, be courageous, and thank you for opening your heart to the mystery.